Hello there and welcome to the Blue Dog Drawing Program. I'm Doris Benter of Library Arts and I'm so happy you've joined me today. We're going to be taking a look at this really fun and playful dog by the artist George Rodrigue. We're going to do a drawing of the dog. You could leave the tie on or off. Actually kind of cool if you want to use it for a drawing that could be used for Father's Day or just a fun drawing. You could change it up, put a hat on him, whatever you want. I'm going to walk you through the drawing, walk you through the coloring, and I think it's going to be a fun program that I hope you enjoy. So sit back, get a sheet of white copy paper and a pencil, have some color pencils and a black marker nearby, and let's get started. Let's get started on our version of a drawing of this famous George Rodrigue blue dog, which is a favorite character of his that he paints numerous times with different looks. Sometimes he's got a tie, sometimes he's got a hat, sometimes he's just plain like this. And we're going to create a drawing using marker, colored pencil, and we'll get started in just a moment. So I first want you to have a sheet of white copy paper, a pencil, an eraser. That's all you need to get started. After that, we'll bring in some black marker and some color pencil. So let's get started at the top. We're going to start near the top of our page, about maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches down from the bottom, from the top, I mean, okay? So we're going to start with lightly sketching. I always think it's a good idea to sketch lightly in the beginning because you can always go back and make it darker, as we say, with a marker. So now once we have that, we're going to add 2 dots to represent the tips of the ears. So the 2 dots are just light dots to give us an idea where the point of the ear is going to go. We're going to kind of go a wavy line up and a wavy kind of scruffy line up. And then we're going to bring both ears down like this. We're going to bring the other ear, as if we're making little fur on the ear, down like that. Okay? Now we're going to add a little bit of a furry edge here and a little bit of a furry edge there. Now we're going to stop for a minute. We're going to bring in the top of the dog's face, which is sort of like where this spot that's going to be part of his nose and mouth are going to be. We're going to start with an arch, a little like a rainbow arch. We're going to come in and down, in and down. Now we're going to go wider, come up and down, and do the same thing on this. So go wide and then just meet up here. Almost looks like sort of a ghost figure. And if you make a little mistake, want to fix up a little line, go ahead and do that. Don't worry about not getting everything perfect the first time. Okay, we're going to add a nose here. The nose is going to be kind of squarish, kind of like a soft square. Alrighty, we're going to add 2 rounded Cheeto shapes that are going to be like eyebrows. So little rounded Cheeto shapes. Isn't that funny to think of as snack food, but that's what it reminds me of. We're going to continue the line from the head, going across the ear, like this. And then we're just going to put a little ear insert. You know, that kind of wiggly shape you might see inside of a dog's ear. We're just going to make it kind of wiggly, like a triangle-y shape. Now we're going to draw a circle, a nice big marble for one eye, a nice big marble for the second eye. We're going to draw these little black shapes that are sort of like the inner corners of the eye coming out on either side. We're going to add 2 more Cheeto-like shapes underneath the eye, one here. And this is just characteristic of Rodrigue's dog paintings. And we're going to put a larger pupil inside that marble. So you see his face coming together now? We're going to bring the sides of his head down. So again, we're going to make it sort of like a bit of a furry. I'm gonna actually make it come into the mouth, so I'm gonna change mine a little bit. Make it sort of like a rough furry shape, like that. And then we're gonna add his mouth below, another arch, but upside down, and a little kind of a smile, right? Now right here, he's going to have a little reference to that necktie he's wearing. So it looks like a band coming around his head. We're going to stop it right there. Why? Because we're going to have the top of the tie there. I'm going to put a rounded bulb for the top of his tie. And we're going to add from that necktie shape on the side, we're going to add the two legs. We're going to come down, come out a little, but now in a little bit, all the way down to the bottom of the page. Let's do the same thing over here. It's almost like we're making a little vessel shape. We're going to come out a little, in a little, and down to the bottom of the page. So there's going to be the two front paws. We're just going to add a sort of wiggly line that comes up here, and a kind of, these are like the paws, you know, like the toes of the dog. And I'm going to move my paper up so you can see. I just did a wiggly line that came up there, and now we're going to do the same thing, kind of just indicating like these are paws without giving a lot of detail. Let's take this line up, put a bump, come over. This line up, have a bump, come over. Now let's stop there for a minute, because what we want to do is bring the tie in before we show the belly of the dog. So we're going to go back up here to the top. We're going to add a diagonal that comes down here, and another diagonal that comes down here. So you have two long diagonals for the tie, and you know how ties are. Then they come to a point right there. So that's his tie hanging there, right? And then he's going to have his belly coming on either side. Now he does have feet, so we're going to take the sides here, put a little diagonal on either side to indicate where each foot will be. And we'll just, again, make it sort of like indicating some toes or toenails coming out of his paws. And this one actually is a little funnier. It kind of comes off to the side. He likes this idea of a dog leg coming out, being kind of skinny, droopy, then coming in. So that's just how he does his dog leg. And I'm going to get rid of that little diagonal. We don't need it after all. So that's just the way he likes to do his dogs. I'm going to also put a line. In fact, I feel like I'm a little off there, a little unbalanced. So let me make sure this is going just a little bit lower. That feels a little more balanced to me. Okay, we're going to add a line here and a line here to indicate the background. So this is the ground. This is the wall behind him. Now the tie has some patterns on it. So I'm going to put a circle here, half a circle there, and I'm going to sort of, you know, draw different size circles inside the tie. And I like the tie circles to go off and not always be connected completely inside the tie. I'll put one right there. So that is the basic drawing. Now what I'd like you to do next is I'd like you to take a black marker. Try to pick a black marker that's in good working order, that's not going to run out on you. Like I have a good one right here. And we're going to start to outline. But I want you to do kind of a thick outline. Really exaggerate some of those rough components. Maybe even add a little roughness to the top of his head here. We don't want to make it too careful. So I'm going to just smooth that out a little bit. But I want to keep that kind of rough, furry quality that he has. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to come around here and really make that nice and rough. This nice and rough. And I'm just going to go ahead and outline all the details of the dog's face. Like so. And I want you to take your black Sharpie and do the same. I think it's better. We can put a couple little nostrils there. Around the eyes, those Cheeto-like shapes that I talked about before. Okay, and now again, I'm going to really kind of thicken up my marker just a little bit to kind of add to that quality of outline around the dog. Pull in that tie. Now I'm going to go ahead and let you finish outlining your dog. And then in the next step, we are going to be coloring some parts of the dog in black, and then we'll jump right into color pencil. So I'm going to stop it here. You go ahead and finish outlining your dog. Mine will be outlined when we come back, and we'll talk about what areas you need to color in black. You can always stop the video whenever you need to catch up with anything you think you need to review again. Okay, so welcome back. You should have had an opportunity to outline your dog in black marker, along with the tie, the line for the background. Now, before we move into coloring, we're going to go back and we're going to add some black. I told you I would do that when we came back. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my black marker and I'm going to color in the ear, the inner ear, with black, not like the pink you might have expected. There's always a sort of a mystery or mysterious quality about this dog. Some people think of him as sort of a Southern legend, and George Rodrigue has become sort of a legendary artist in the South, where he lives, and I believe where he grew up. So there are the two ears. We're also going to add some black to these Cheeto shapes. Now I like to put a little blue color pencil underneath it, so I'm not going to color the whole thing in black. I'm going to do the same thing, just partially fill it with black, and I'm going to leave a little room for some color pencil. The pupils of the eyes will be black. The outline around the eye and the two corners will be a little heavier black, so I'm just filling that in a little bit. Same thing over here. I'm just going to fill it in just a little bit, leaving room for the iris of the eye, the colored portion, to have some color. Underneath, we're going to make that shape pretty much all black, maybe leave a little room for color pencil. So again, right here. The nose is pretty much black, but I want you to leave a little room for the nostrils to show. I don't want you to cover up completely. So we're going to do that right here with our black marker, and here. We're just going to put a little lip of black right there under that mouth, not the whole thing, just a little bit. And I'm trying to think where else we may have, oh, I know. We're going to go back and just thicken. I didn't want to do this prior because I wanted you to see, just sort of thicken that edge. Make those rough fur edges a little thicker. And then when you get into the mouth, so I'm going to come around the head here and again thicken that up a little bit. Just sort of making my outline more prominent. And then we're going to actually come in here a little bit and draw some black and fill that in. Gives like a little bit of a shadow near the muzzle and mouth of the dog. So we're going to fill that in with black. We're going to go down here on the bottom where you see a little bit of the belly, and we're just going to give a little shadowy bit of black there and here. And over here, we're going to put a little shadowy bit of black there. Thicken that outline here around the dog's leg. Again, just roughly thicken it. It's not a precise line. It's meant to be a little on the rough side. And maybe indicate maybe a couple little toenails here in the paw as we thicken that up. A little toenail coming out. Thickening up without coloring the whole thing black, just thickening up the outline around the dog and around this back leg here. We're also going to thicken that up. Just, again, a style that Rodrigue has of making these really prominent black outline details around his dog. Now let's go to the other side and do the same thing. We're going to thicken up the leg here, come down, sort of suggest some paws with maybe dog claws. You know, dogs have claws. Not as feisty as cats usually, and I can speak for my own cat. Come up here, a little thickening there, and also on the back paw. Again, sort of emphasizing some paws with little toenails. That to me looks pretty much what we want in terms of darkness on the dog. And I think what we're going to do now is we're going to move into adding some color. Now, when it comes to choosing color pencils, and I really do think that is the best thing to do for this project, I want you to take a moment, collect your colors. I have a nice range of blues, dark blues, blue purples, aqua blues. I also have a reddish purple and a sort of dark, deeper maroon-like purple. So to get a hold of your color pencils, and in the next moment, we'll start talking about color. Okay. Welcome back. As I said, we're ready to start adding color. We've done our black outlines. Let's take a look at the George Rodrigue picture. So you can see why we went in with the black, heavier outlines here. Now I have my color pencils here. And what I like to do is keep a little scrap paper nearby where I can test out the colors to really see what the colors are going to be and say, yeah, when I look at this blue right here really reminds me of some of the lighter blues in here. When I'm looking for that darker blue right here, that kind of reminds me of this section. You know, maybe for the background, this really pretty kind of magenta color. And so you see, by taking your color pencils out and just doing a little test color and having a reference nearby, it does help to choose your colors in advance. So I would choose as many blues as you have. If you don't have color pencils, but you have crayons, you have markers, choose a few different blues if you can to try to get the look and feel of the blues that are going on throughout the dog's body here. We're going to wait on the tie. The eyes we're going to do in marker, the tie we're going to do in marker. The rest of the dog we're going to do in color pencil, and then we'll split the background. So let's get started. As I said, I have quite a few blue color pencils here that I can use as a reference. So these are the colors I'm considering. I may use some of them, may not use all of them, but I want to just have them here nearby to get started. I personally like the Prismacolor brand of color pencils. I'm not making an ad for them. I just find that they're higher quality than most, but use what you have, obviously. Okay, so one of the blues that I was thinking right from the get-go made sense for me was this Ultramarine Blue, and we're going to start using it on the edges of the ear. We're not going to color in the whole ear, but we're going to use, just like we did the black, how we kind of, put it in and we put it heavy in some areas. We're going to add a bit of blue around the darker edges of the ear like this. And you can just kind of be random a little bit, just kind of color in a little bit, but not all the way, like that. We're going to do a similar technique over here. We're going to color in part of the ear, leaving room for other blues to come in. Because one of the nice things about Rodrigue's dog is that he uses more than one blue. And I really like that, the way he mixes and blends his colors. And color pencils really lend themselves well to that. So I'm thinking, when I look at Rodrigue's, I'm thinking this blue might be like an aqua blue, might be a good color to go with next. So I'm going to begin to blend the aqua blue and fill in the rest of this ear with that aqua blue, like this. So you get a nice dark blue to black, and then you have the blending of the lighter blue. I'm going to do the same thing over here, bringing that blue in to that purpley blue and filling in the ear. So we can kind of get a flavor for how he likes to blend his blues to give this blue dog his look. Now, I sense that he has more of the lighter blue here at the top of the head. And again, it's like this quality where he likes to go around the edges of things and then bring other colors in. So I'm going to put this blue here along with that darker blue. I'm going to put a little bit of that darker blue in. Bring it right up to the nose, which actually is a very pale color. We're not going to really be adding a lot of color to the nose. So I have that darker purple blue now. I'm going to bring it in just like I did on the ear, sort of irregularly around the edge of the dog's head, over here, and then back to the lighter blue here, like that. Now I'm going to leave it white for now around the dog's white muzzle area, but I am going to bring a slightly paler blue in here to give us that pale portion of the dog's face, like this. Come in here. Now clearly I'm working faster than you're going to work, and that is absolutely fine, because what I really want you to do is to work at your own pace and stop the video as needed so that you can add, like I want to work on the light blue section and she's going way too fast for me. Not a problem. I'm keeping 3 pencils in my hand so I can interchange between them, maybe some darker blue. Now I feel like I need some lighter blue around the eyes here, with a little darker blue coming out over here and under that eye a little bit. And some lighter blue over here, filling in. Like that. And then right in that Cheeto shape, remember the Cheeto shape I said we're going to leave a little white? We're going to actually add some darker purpley blue in there to really emphasize that mysterious quality of the dog. Another thing that we're going to do is we're going to use our black marker to bring in just a little extra hint. He has this sort of curious shape coming over the eye, so we're going to bring that back in. And then there's a little, like a V shape over here and a little bit over here, just to add a little emphasis to the eyes. Okay, the nose is already black. The mouth is done. We're going to leave this white for now. Let's go down to the lower part of the dog. We're going to start with that dark purpley blue again first. So that kind of purpley blue is going to come in here. It's going to go down around the edge of the dog like it did before. Kind of come in here and maybe do some more on the other side with a darker aqua blue. And I'm wondering if I might have another dark aqua blue that I might use over here. Bring a little bit of another type of aqua blue in here. And darker blue over it. I really enjoy overlapping my color pencils and building up the colors slowly. I think that's a really cool way to work. So that's what I'm doing here. Gonna bring some of that lighter blue in. See how beautifully the blues blend together as you work? I'm gonna take a mid tone blue right here. And I'm going to do it lightly, and then I'm going to build some color up on top of it. I'm going to do a little darker there, but I am going to build some other colors on top of it shortly, but I just want to kind of get started with that. Bring that darker blue, as I told you. Here comes the layering. Cross, really dark here. Very, very dark. But then it kind of trickles off. Trickles off a little bit. And then I'm just going to go over this a bit to make it not quite as light and kind of, in a way, blending over into that purple blue without becoming the purpley blue. Get in here with the aqua. Start coming down here with the aqua blue. And this aqua blue too. Takes a while to color in a dog like this. Even though we're just using color pencil and it's only an 8.5 sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, just a sheet of copy paper, it still takes time, doesn't it? So feel free to put lighter colors and to go back and build up, like I'm doing here, with darker colors on top, like around the edge of the leg here, where he likes to get in there and he likes to darken the color. If you don't have an electric sharpener, keep a little pencil sharpener nearby so that you can sharpen your pencil. This one is a Staedtler brand. It's a German brand of color pencil sharpener. It does a pretty serviceable job. Is it perfect? No, not at all. But does it do a pretty good job? I would say it does. So I'm going to go in here and again, just sort of build up that light blue a little bit heavier. In the back, you're going to have some light blue in there. And again, going back to that emphasis on the heaviness near the edges of the body. He just likes to do that. Sort of a quality of his work. So you're going to notice there's some of that dark blue coming in here. And then over at the toes too. So again, you can even come in here and say, well, I'd really like to get some of that middle blue in here. Get that in there on top of the lighter blue, build it up, blend it in, like that. Let's go over to the other side. I'm going to sharpen this pencil because I have a feeling I'm going to be using this light blue quite a bit again. So I'm going to give that a little extra sharpening. And this one too, because I think these 3 light blues are going to be important pencils to use. So I'm going to keep those 3, because if you look, the right side of the dog does have a lot of lightness in it. So we're going to make sure we capture that by putting some light blue here, filling in the body. Again, lightly, lightly, lightly. Not too heavy, because we want to layer those colors again. We want to layer them in. So let's just get a base color down to start. Then we can go back up and add more color. Like that. Gonna come back with this darker color again right near the edges. Here we go again. He has this habit of really building up the dark colors near the edges. Not always evenly either, just kind of building them up, putting emphasis near the toes, near the edges of the leg, and over here, this is almost all dark. This back leg is gonna be all dark. So I'm gonna really get in there with my purpley blue, and pretty much with just a little bit of this lighter blue to break it up a bit. I'm still gonna go over it with that purpley blue. Yep. Under here, you're gonna make that as dark as you can, like this. And that's sort of the belly area, all in shadow underneath the leg. Okay, going back here, I feel like I want to move in and put some of this heavier blue on top now that I got that light blue down. So again, all about layering, whether it's color pencil or paint. A lot of artists layer their colors. Okay, so I'm going to go back and darken this a little bit over on that toe. That really is the blue dog. Now, one thing I noticed I forgot to do, which I'm going to do now, is in his tie here, there should be circles as well, and I just forgot to add those, so we're going to add them now. You may have done that. You may have noticed that I had forgotten to do that and added your own. So we're going to put those color pencils aside for a minute. We're going to use yellow and orange now. Eyes are going to be yellow. The tie is going to be yellow and orange. So let's use those to add some color to each eye here. Nice, bright, glowing yellow eye to add to that mysterious bit of the dog. The tie around the circles is going to be yellow. If you prefer to use color pencils instead, I think I'm going to change my yellow to a more golden yellow. I think I like, the other one was too lemony for me, so I'm going to change it up just a little bit. But if you prefer to use color pencils because you happen to have them out, that's fine. Go right ahead. Just as if you had to use markers on your dog, that was okay too. So all about using what you have and not feeling like you can't participate. That's my motto. Is sort of Picasso, who said, you know, if I don't have red, I use blue. He doesn't let that stop him in his work, and we're not going to let it stop you either. So there's that part of the tie, this part of the tie. Now we're going to come back in with some orange. And again, I keep telling you this, but I want to remind you, feel free to stop this video whenever you need to. You say, wait a minute, she's got all her circles colored in and I barely started. Okay, stop the video. Catch up. Since all the circles are going to be orange, it's something you can do without watching my guidance, and then you can come back and say, okay, what are we doing next? So I'm going to finish orange dots. You see that yellow is a nice contrast to all the cool colors. You need a pop of warmth to bring out that tie, and I think that's why he did that. Now, believe it or not, when you look at this, I like to do this with people. If you look at that tie, you say, oh, it's white. Well, actually, it's a very, very pale blue. If you put white next to it, you can say, that's not pure white. It's actually got some blue in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a super pale blue, and I'm going to lightly put a layer of pale blue inside the dog's nose here to just give it a hint. And this is putting super, super light pressure on my color pencil. I'm going to do the same thing down here. But I am going to go back and sort of color in that mouth with the black. That should be black, not so little like I had it before. Okay, that is the coloring of the blue dog. Now I'm going to stop it, let you get caught up, and then we're going to come back and talk about the background. See you in a minute. Coloring is done. Now we're just ready to work on the background. Now I'm just going to work with a couple color pencils that I've pre-selected. And if you want to do some layering with colors, that is absolutely fine. I decide to match the background color pretty closely with this color that is like a rouge mulberry, sort of purpley pink, which I really like. And then I've decided for the ground, which he does not have in the original. He doesn't have a separate ground, but I decided to do that. I have an apple green. So I'm going to start with the top. I'm going to start shading, as you can see, very lightly with my pencil. I'm not going to work too hard on that because I don't want it to be heavy. I want it to be a light coloring. So you see, even my wrist is working the pencil in light strokes to fill up the space. You don't have to be precious with this. I would probably work with a vertical stroke. I just think that it goes with the fact that the dog is sitting in a portrait style position like this. And I would just do even strokes as you work. Now with color pencils, as you saw before, they do wear down quite quickly. So I'm probably going to have to take a moment and go back and give myself a little sharpening here. So I'll do that quickly. And that's why it's handy to keep a little sharpener nearby when you're working with color pencils. Some people actually use sandpaper. Did you know that? People will use sandpaper on their color pencils and sharpen it rather quickly like that. I'm putting this paper underneath my work so that I don't get color pencil all over the tabletop. Now, as I've said in the past, I'm working rather quickly to sort of get you through this step. But I want you to know that you can definitely work at a slower speed, and I actually indeed hope you do, because otherwise I feel like you're not going to get the quality level you want. So already I have almost half of it done. Putting very light to medium pressure. I don't want a heavy colored background, but again, if you want to mix some pink in there and blend the way we were blending with the blue, that makes sense to me. You could smooth out your strokes more so than I am. That's another thing you could do. I'm just hoping I don't have to sharpen this pencil again before I finish the corner here. I think I have just enough before needing another sharpening. And as you can see, my pencil's pretty worn down there. But I feel like I got just about everything filled in. Just a little touch up here and there. So that is the top of my blue dog. Now I'm going to bring this, what is called an apple green, and I'm going to do the same kind of, I'm not going to put a lot of pressure here. I'm just going to be lightly filling it in. Quickly. You can use your whole arm. You don't just have to use your wrist. You can move your arm up and down. Whatever works well for you is the way to go. Again, I have this paper underneath to help capture any excess color pencil that's going to go off the page. I know I said do vertical strokes, but it's okay when you're near the edges and you need to get some horizontal strokes in there to help finish the edges. That's fine. You do what you need to do. But you don't need to be as precious with the blending as you were with the blending inside the dog. So we are almost done here. Just a few bits to do. And I really like the playfulness. If you haven't looked at the work of George Rodrigue, he hasn't just done his blue dog, he's just well known. Artists sometimes become very well known for a particular look or a period of work that they went through. Like people talk about Pablo Picasso's blue and rose periods, his Cubist period, and artists can have these sort of periods in their work that they become very well recognized and known for. So I'm just going to finish that last bit of green, and there you go. You have yourself an amazing blue dog drawing inspired by the artist George Rodrigue. I hope that you look him up and check out his work some more. This is Doris Benter of Library Arts. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed the program. Bye.